The fluorescent lights of Murphy's Hardware flickered overhead as I restocked extension cords on aisle 7. It was a Thursday afternoon in late September. The kind of day where summer still clung to the air but autumn whispered promises in the breeze. My phone buzzed in my Pukita work call from dispatch. Casey, got a residential job for you. Electrical issues at 47 Maple Grove. Customer says half her house went dark. I wiped my dusty hands on my work pants and grabbed my toolkit from the back room. 28 years old, 2 years into running my own handywoman business after leaving my corporate job, and I still got a little thrill from each new call. There was something honest about fixing things, about making broken things whole again. The address led me to a charming Victorian house with purple hydrangeas lining the walkway. Before I could knock, the door opened, and I forgot how to breathe. She stood there in an oversized cream sweater that slipped off one shoulder, dark hair falling in waves past her collarbone, eyes the color of honey catching afternoon light. But it wasn't just her beauty that stopped MIT, was the sadness that seemed to hover around her like morning fog. "You must be Casey," she said, her voice soft and slightly hoarse, as if she'd been crying. "I'm Olivia, thank you for coming on such short notice." "Of course," I managed, professional instincts kicking in. "Let's take a look at what's going on." She led me inside, and I immediately noticed how the house felt beautiful but empty, like a museum of someone's former life. Family photos lined the hallway, but they all showed the same pattern. Olivia with a blonde woman, their smiles growing more strained in each successive picture until the photos simply stopped. "It's the entire west side of the house," Olivia explained, wrapping her arms around herself. "The living room, my bedroom, the study, everything just went dark this morning. I found the electrical panel in the basement and began my inspection. The problem was clear a tripped breaker, but the underlying issue was outdated wiring that could be dangerous. This wasn't a quick fix. Ms. Olivia called up the stairs. I found the problem, but I need to replace some of the wiring. It's going to take a few hours. Is that okay?" A pause, then, "Yes, that's fine. Can I get you anything? Coffee, water?" "Coffee would be great, thank you." 20 minutes later, she appeared at the basement door with 2 mugs, and something about the gesture made my chest tight. She sat on the bottom step, watching me work with an intensity that should have made me uncomfortable but somehow didn't. "How long have you been doing this?" she asked. "Professionally, 2 years, but I grew up helping my dad fix everything in our house. He always said if you can understand how something breaks, you can understand how to heal it." "Heal it," she repeated softly. "That's a beautiful way to put it." We fell into conversation as I worked the kind of easy, unexpected connection that feels like finding a $20 bill in an old jacket. She told me she was a writer, currently on indefinite hiatus. I told her about leaving my marketing job to do something that felt real. We didn't talk about the photos in the hallway, and I didn't ask about the sadness in her eyes. But as the afternoon stretched into evening, and I finished the wiring, I found myself inventing reasons to stay longer, checking connections twice, testing outlets that were clearly working, anything to extend these hours in the warm glow of her kitchen, drinking coffee that got cold as we talked. "All done," I finally said, around 7 o'clock. "Everything should be working perfectly now." Olivia walked me to the door, and in the golden light of the entryway, she looked even more beautiful and broken than before. "Thank you, Casey, not just for the lights." I handed her my business card, my hand shaking slightly. "If you ever need anything else fixed, or if you just want to talk, I'm around." She took the card, her fingers brushing mine. "I might take you up on that." I walked to my truck feeling like I'd left something important behind, not realizing it was a piece of my heart. 3 days passed. I thought about Olivia constantly, the way she tucked her hair behind her ear when she was thinking, the small smile that appeared when I told stupid jokes about electrical puns, the profound loneliness that seemed to emanate from her very being. On Sunday evening, my phone rang. Unknown number. "Casey, it's Olivia, from Maple Grove." My heart performed an entire gymnastics routine in my chest. "Hi, is everything okay with the wiring?" "The wiring is perfect. But, a long pause. "My back porch light is flickering, and I was wondering, could you maybe come take a look? I know it's late, and it's the weekend, so if you can't, I can be there in 20 minutes. I broke several speed limits getting there. This time when she answered the door, she was in jeans and a soft gray t-shirt, her hair pulled back, and she looked like she'd been crying. "I'm sorry," she said immediately. "The light is fine. I tested it after I called. I've been alone in this house for 3 months. And after you left the other day, it felt even emptier. And she stopped, tears spilling over. I'm sorry. You don't need to hear this. I shouldn't have lied about the light. I stepped inside and closed the door behind me. Olivia, it's okay. I'm glad you called. She laughed wetly. You're glad I lied to get you here. I've been hoping you'd call all week. I didn't care what the reason was. The confession hung between us, honest and terrifying. She led me to the kitchen, and over wine and the pasta she'd apparently been making before she lost her nerve, the story came out. Her ex-fiancée, Jennifer, who'd left 3 months ago after 8 years together, the house they'd bought together, which Olivia couldn't afford alone but couldn't bear to leave, the writing career that had stalled because how do you write about love when your own has just disintegrated? Everyone keeps telling me to move on, Olivia said, refilling our glasses. But how do you move on from someone who was your whole world? How do you rebuild when you don't even remember what you looked like before you were half of something? I don't think moving on means forgetting, I said carefully. My mom always said grief is just love with nowhere to go. Maybe it's not about moving on. Maybe it's about making room for new things while still honoring what was. She looked at me for a long moment. When you left the other day, do you know what I did? I went to every room you'd fixed and turned the lights on and off, because it felt like hope, like if the lights could be fixed, maybe I could be too. You're not broken, Olivia. I feel broken. Feeling broken and being broken are different things. We talked until 2 in the morning. She showed me her office, filled with notebooks and half-finished manuscripts. I told her about my own struggles with reinvention, the fear that I'd made a terrible mistake leaving corporate stability. We laughed about bad dates and cried about lost dreams. And somewhere in those hours, something shifted between USA recognition, a possibility, a door creaking open. When I finally left, she hugged me at the door, and I memorized the feeling, her arms around me, her face pressed against my shoulder. The way she whispered, "Thank you for coming. Please come back." "I will," I promised. "Anytime you need me." "What if I need you tomorrow?" I smiled against her hair. "Then I'll be here tomorrow." Tomorrow became the next day, which became every day. I started coming over after work, sometimes with a legitimate repair to make a leaky faucet, a squeaky door, but mostly just to be there. We'd cook dinner together, her teaching me to make proper risotto, while I showed her how to unclog a drain without calling a plumber. We'd watch old movies on her couch, our shoulders touching, both of us pretending not to notice. Olivia started writing again, small things, at first journal entries, snippets of dialogue, but gradually something larger began to take shape. She wouldn't tell me what it was about, but I'd catch her watching me sometimes with an expression I couldn't quite read, then scribbling frantically in her notebook. "It's about second chances," she finally admitted one October evening as we raked leaves in her front yard. The maples had turned gold and crimson, and she looked like autumn personified, about how sometimes the life you planned falling apart makes room for the life you were meant to have. "That's beautiful," I said, and meant it. She stopped raking and looked at me. "Casey, what are we doing?" My heart stopped. "What do you mean, this, us? You're here every day. We talked for hours. I think about you constantly, and she set down her rake. "I haven't felt this way since, maybe ever, but I'm scared. I'm so scared. Jennifer left me 6 months ago, and I swore I'd never let anyone close again. And then you showed up to fix my lights, and you're fixing me too, and I don't know what to do with that." I moved closer, my pulse thundering. "Olivia, I'm scared too. I've been falling for you since that first day, and I kept telling myself it was too soon. You weren't ready. I should just be your friend. But the truth is, I don't want to just be your friend. I'm a mess," she whispered. "I like mess. Mess is honest. What if I break your heart? What if you don't?" She kissed me then, standing in a pile of autumn leaves in her front yard, and it felt like coming home. Her lips were soft and sure, and she tasted like the apple cider we'd been drinking. And when we finally pulled apart, she was crying again, but this time they were different tears. "I've wanted to do that for weeks," she breathed. "So have I. What now?" I tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, the gesture I'd watched her do 100 times. "Now we take it slow. We figure it out together. No pressure, no expectations, just us." She nodded, then kissed me again, deeper this time. Her hands in my hair, and the leaves swirled around us like a blessing. It wasn't all autumn leaves and perfect kisses. 2 weeks after that first kiss, Jennifer showed up. I was installing new shelves in Olivia's study when the doorbell rang. Through the window, I saw a beautiful blonde woman with designer sunglasses and an expression of determination. Olivia froze when she opened the door. Jen, what are you doing here? I made a mistake, Jennifer said simply. I've been living in Seattle, and I'm miserable. I want to come home. I want us to try again. My stomach dropped. I set down my drill and moved to stand in the hallway where I could see them but tried to look invisible. You left, Olivia said, her voice shaking. You said you'd fallen out of love with me. You said I was too much, too needy, too emotional, too intense. I was wrong. I was scared of commitment, of growing up, of all of it. But I've had 6 months to think and live. You're the love of my life. Please, can we just talk? I saw the confusion cross Olivia's face, the old hurt resurface. Part of me wanted to interrupt, to claim my place in her life. But this wasn't my moment. This was her story to write. Come in, Olivia said finally, but not for long. I stayed in the study while they talked in the kitchen. I couldn't hear everything, but I heard enough. Jennifer's apologies, her promises, her tears. The hardest part was hearing the silence, the moments where I imagined Olivia considering, remembering, wavering. After an hour, I heard the front door close. Footsteps approached the study. Olivia appeared in the doorway. Mascara streaked down her face. She's gone. Are you okay? I don't know. She came and sat on the floor beside where I'd been working, pulling her knees to her chest. She said everything I wanted to hear 6 months ago. If she'd said those things then, if she'd fought for me even a little bit, my throat tightened. But she didn't. And 6 months happened, and you happened. She looked at me with those honey-colored eyes. Casey, I spent 8 years loving someone who made me feel like I was too much, like my emotions were a burden, like I needed to be smaller to be lovable. And then you showed up, and you made me feel like being me, messy, emotional, intense, meek, was not just okay but beautiful. How do I give that up? You don't have to decide anything right now. Yes, I do. She took my hand. Because if I don't, I'll spend weeks agonizing and doubting, and I'll hurt you in the process, and you don't deserve that. So I'm deciding now. I choose you. I choose this. I choose the life I'm building instead of the one I lost. Are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything. Relief and love flooded through me. I pulled her close, and she cried against my chest while I held her, and I thought about how healing isn't linear, how you can be moving forward and still feel the pull of the past. And that doesn't make your progress any less real. Winter came early that year, harsh and unforgiving. Olivia and I had been together officially for 2 months when the storm hit, both literally and metaphorically. The literal storm was a nor'easter that knocked out power across the county. Of course, Olivia called me immediately, and of course, I came, prepared to spend the night if needed. We lit candles and built a fire in her fireplace, and I was testing the backup generator when she got the phone call that changed everything. What do you mean, she's in the hospital? Olivia's voice was sharp with panic. Which hospital? Is she okay? I'm coming. She turned to me, her face pale. Jennifer was in a car accident. She's alive, but she's hurt, and her parents are out of the country, and the hospital is calling her emergency contacts, and I have to go, Casey. Of course, I'll drive you. The hospital was chaos. The storm had caused multiple accidents, and the emergency room was overflowing. We found Jennifer in a curtained-off area, her leg in a cast, her face bruised, looking small and scared in the hospital bed. Live, she breathed when she saw Olivia. You came. Of course I came. You idiot. What happened? Black ice. I spun out, hit a guardrail. She noticed me standing back. Hi, Casey. Hi, Jennifer. I'm glad you're okay. What followed were the longest hours of my life. I sat in the waiting room while Olivia stayed with Jennifer, holding her hand, helping her through pain medication, fog, being the compassionate person she'd always been. I understood Jennifer had been her partner for 8 years. You don't just turn that off. But understanding didn't make it easier to watch. Around midnight, Olivia came to find me. She's going to be okay. They're admitting her overnight for observation. Her parents are flying back tomorrow. She sat beside me, exhausted. I'm sorry. This is awful for you. Don't apologize. She needed you, but you need me too. I'm okay, Liv. I promise. She leaned her head on my shoulder. When I saw her lying there, hurt and scared, I felt something. Not romantic love, but care, history, the kind of connection you can't just erase. And I'm terrified that makes me a terrible girlfriend. It makes you human. She was a huge part of your life. Of course you still care about her well-being. How are you so understanding about this? Because I love you. And love isn't about owning someone or demanding they feel nothing for anyone else. It's about trusting them to navigate complicated situations with integrity, which is exactly what you're doing. She kissed me softly. I don't deserve you. Yes, you do. The metaphorical storm came 2 days later. Jennifer was recovering at Olivia's house. Her apartment in Seattle had been sublet. She couldn't fly with her broken leg, and she had nowhere else to go. Olivia had offered the guest room without even consulting me, and I'd smiled and said it was fine, and it was sort of, but having Jennifer there, watching her and Olivia fall into old patterns, seeing their shared history in every inside joke and comfortable silence, was slowly breaking me. I started coming over less, making excuses about work, creating distance to protect myself. On the 5th day of this arrangement, Olivia showed up at my apartment. "What are you doing?" she demanded, pushing past me into my living room. "What? You're pulling away. You're shutting me out. Just talk to me, Casey. Tell me what you're feeling." And something in me broke. What I'm feeling. I'm feeling like I'm watching you play house with your ex-girlfriend in the home you bought together, and I'm supposed to just smile and be understanding about it. I'm feeling like I'm always going to be the person who came second. The rebound. The handy woman who was there when you were broken but not who you really want. I'm feeling like I'm falling in love with someone who might not be over her ex, and it's terrifying. Olivia stared at me, tears streaming down her face. "Is that really what you think? That you're second choice? Aren't I?" "No. God, Casey, no. Jennifer is my past. You're my future. Can't you see that? Then why does it feel like I'm competing with a ghost? Because you're scared. Because I'm scared. Because we're both still figuring out how to do this." She crossed the room and took my hands. "Casey, I love you. I am in love with you. Jennifer being in my guest room doesn't change that. My history with her doesn't diminish what I feel for you. And if you can't trust that, then we have a bigger problem than her broken leg. I want to trust it. Then do. Trust me. Trust us. I'm asking Jennifer to leave as soon as she can fly. I'm setting boundaries. But I need you to meet me halfway and believe that I'm choosing you, over and over again." I pulled her close, and she melted into me, and we held each other while the winter wind howled outside. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "I should have told you how I was feeling instead of pulling away, and I should have been more aware of how hard this was for you." She pulled back to look at me. "We're going to mess this up sometimes. We're going to have hard moments. But we can't run when things get complicated. No running. I promise. No running," she agreed. Jennifer left 2 weeks later, heading to her parents' place in Florida to finish recovering. Before she left, she found me alone in Olivia's kitchen. "Can we talk?" she asked. I nodded, wary. "I want to thank you," she said, "for the way you've loved her. I spent 8 years trying to change Olivia into someone who fit my life, and you just accepted her exactly as she is. You saw the beauty in all the things I found difficult. I didn't mean to come between. You didn't. I did that all by myself when I left." She smiled sadly. "For what it's worth, I think you two are perfect together. She looks at you the way I always wanted her to look at me, like you hung the moon and stars. Don't mess it up. I'll do my best." After Jennifer left, something settled in the house. The tension that had been hovering for weeks dissipated, and Olivia and I could finally just be. We settled into a rhythm. I'd come over after work, and we'd cook dinner together. She'd read me passages from her novel, which was coming along beautifully. We'd take walks around the neighborhood, holding hands, planning a future that was starting to feel real. One February evening, wrapped in blankets on her porch swing despite the cold, Olivia turned to me. "Move in with me." I nearly dropped my hot chocolate. "What? Move in with me? I know it's only been 5 months, and maybe it's too fast, but this house has always been too big for one person, and I hate the nights when you're not here." And I kissed her to stop her rambling. "Yes, yes, 100 times yes." She laughed, that full, joyful sound I'd come to love more than anything. "Really, you're sure?" "Olivia, from the moment I met you, standing in your doorway looking sad and beautiful, I've been sure about you. Moving in together is just making official what my heart already knew." I moved in on a Saturday in March. My friends helped haul boxers while Olivia directed traffic and provided snacks. As we carried the last of my things into what was now our bedroom, she stopped me. "I need to show you something." She led me to her office and pulled out a manuscript. It's done. I finished it last night. Your novel. It's about us. Well, a fictionalized version of us. About a woman who loses everything and finds herself again with the help of a handy woman who sees her. About learning that sometimes the life you didn't plan is the one you were always meant to live. I flipped through the pages, my eyes catching phrases. She fixed my lights. But more than that, she taught me I wasn't broken, just waiting. Love isn't about completing each other. It's about witnessing each other's wholeness. Can I read it? I asked, my voice thick. I was hoping you would. You're my first reader, my only reader, until it's ready. I pulled her close. I love you so much. I love you too. Thank you for being patient with me, for giving me time to heal, for not giving up when things got hard. Thank you for letting me in, for trusting me with your heart. We stood in her office holding each other, and through the window, I could see the lights I'd fixed months ago, glowing warm against the early evening. It's been 2 years since that first service call. Last month, Olivia's novel was published. It's a small press, nothing huge, but the reviews have been beautiful. She does readings at local bookstores, and I sit in the audience every time, bursting with pride as she shares our story. Gentled, made universal, but ours nonetheless. The house is truly ours now. We painted the bedroom a soft blue. My tools have a permanent spot in the garage. The photos in the hallway now include us, at Pride last summer, on the vacation to Oregon, at her book launch party. The old photos of Jennifer are in a box in the attic, not forgotten, but no longer the dominant narrative. We still have hard days. Olivia sometimes struggles with anxiety, worrying that I'll leave like Jennifer did. I sometimes struggle with feeling like I'm enough, like I belong in her creative world, but we talk about it now. We don't run. Last week, I came home from a particularly brutal job, a full house rewire that took 12 hours to find. Olivia had drawn me a bath and ordered my favorite takeout. What's this for? I asked, kissing her. For being you, for working so hard, for making this house a home. As I soaked in the tub, I could hear her in the kitchen, humming while she set out the food. And I thought about how strange and wonderful life is, how I'd gone to fix some lights and found my person, how sometimes the things we think are broken are just waiting for the right person to see them differently. That night, curled up together in bed, Olivia traced patterns on my arm. What are you thinking about? I asked. About that first day, when you showed up to fix my lights. I was so lost then, so convinced I'd never feel whole again. And now I know I was whole all along. I just needed someone to help me see it. She propped herself up on one elbow to look at me. You know what the best part is? I used to think my story ended when Jennifer left, but that wasn't an ending. It was a beginning. The real story started when you knocked on my door. I pulled her close, breathing in her familiar scent. Best service call I ever made. You're such a dork, she laughed. But she was crying too. Your dork. My dork. Forever, if you'll have me. Forever sounds perfect. Outside, the lights we'd fixed together glowed against the darkness. And inside, we built our forever one day at a time. Messy, beautiful, and entirely ours. The house on Maple Grove has a new sign in the front yard. Murphy and Associates Electrical Services. I finally took the leap and hired a small team, and business is booming. Olivia's second novel came out last month, to much better reviews. She's doing a book tour, and I'm taking time off to travel with her. The roles reversed, me supporting her dreams now, but the best change is the one we haven't announced yet. We're in the process of adopting a little girl, 3 years old, who needs a home and a family. We've been through months of paperwork and interviews, and next week, we meet her for the first time. Are you nervous? Olivia asks as we paint what will be the nursery, a soft yellow. Terrified. You same, but good. Terrified. The kind that means something wonderful is about to happen. I set down my paintbrush and wrapped my arms around her from behind, both of us looking at the room that will soon hold our daughter. Remember when you called me to fix your lights? She leaned back against me. How could I forget? It was the best call I ever made. I was just thinking I came here to fix something broken, but nothing was actually broken. It was all just waiting to become something new. We were both waiting, Olivia said softly. We just didn't know it yet. Outside, the autumn leaves are falling again, gold and crimson, just like that day 5 years ago when we first kissed. The lights glow warm in the windows. Inside, we're painting a room for our daughter, building a life we never could have imagined. Proof that sometimes the best stories are the ones we never saw coming. I came to fix our lights, but together, we built something that shines so much brighter. The first time we met Emma, she hid behind her social worker's legs and wouldn't look at us. She was tiny for 3 years old, with dark curls and enormous brown eyes that had seen too much sadness. Her file said she'd been in for foster homes in 2 years. Her mother had struggled with addiction and lost custody. Her father was unknown. She'd learned early that adults leave, that homes are temporary, that love is conditional. "Hi, Emma," Olivia said softly, kneeling down to her level. "I'm Olivia, and this is Casey. We brought you something." She held out a stuffed elephant, soft and purple, with floppy ears. Emma peeked out eyes on the elephant. "His name is Peanut," I added, "but you can call him whatever you want." Slowly, so slowly, Emma reached out and took the elephant. She held it against her chest and finally looked at us. "Pretty," she whispered, touching Olivia's hair. Olivia's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, sweetheart." That first visit lasted an hour. Emma warmed up gradually, showing us her toys, letting me push her on the swing, eating the cookies we'd brought. When we left, she waved goodbye, clutching Peanut. Na knew this was our daughter. The next 3 months were a blur of visits, paperwork, court dates, and preparation. We baby-proofed the house. We read every parenting book we could find. We attended classes on trauma-informed parenting. We lay awake at night, terrified and excited in equal measure. "What if we mess this up?" Olivia whispered one night. "What if we're not enough for her?" "What if we are?" I countered. "What if we're exactly what she needs, and she's exactly what we need?" "When did you become the optimistic one?" "I learned from the best," I said, kissing her forehead. The day Emma came home was in December, just before Christmas. We'd decorated her room with fairy lights and soft blankets and shelves full of books. We'd made her favorite meal, mac and cheese, according to her foster mom. We'd prepared as much as we could, but nothing could have prepared us for the reality of a traumatized 3-year-old who didn't understand why she'd been moved again, who didn't believe this was permanent, who tested every boundary to see when we'd send her away. The first week was hell. Emma wouldn't sleep in her room. She'd scream if we tried to leave her alone. She threw food, hit, bit when she was overwhelmed. She hoarded toys and snacks in her closet, terrified of scarcity. She asked every day when her real mom was coming. I found Olivia crying in the bathroom on day 5. "I don't know if I can do this," she sobbed. "I thought love would be enough, but Casey, she's so hurt, and I don't know how to help her." I held her while she cried, and I was scared too. But I also knew something Olivia had taught me years ago. "Remember what you told me? That sometimes broken things just need someone to see them differently." Emma's not broken. She's protecting herself the only way she knows how. We just have to show her she's safe, over and over again, until she believes it. "How long will that take?" "As long as it takes." Olivia wiped her eyes and nodded. "As long as it takes." We developed a routine. Every morning, I'd make pancakes shaped like animals. Olivia would read Emma 3 stories before nap time. Every evening, we'd have family dance parties in the living room. We'd tell Emma every day that she was staying forever, that this was her home, that we weren't going anywhere. Slowly, glacially, slowly, things began to shift. After 2 weeks, Emma let me put her to bed without Olivia in the room. After a month, she stopped hoarding food. After 6 weeks, she called Olivia Mama Liv for the first time, and Olivia cried happy tears for an hour. After 2 months, she woke up from a nightmare and called for us, "Mama, Mommy," and we both ran to her room, and she let us hold her until she fell back asleep. She called us both. Olivia whispered in the darkness, Emma snoring softly between us. She called for us. "Yep," I said, my throat tight. She did. We'd been a family for 6 months when Emma's biological mother, Rachel, got out of rehab and petitioned the court for visitation rights. The news hit like a bomb. "They can't do this," I said, pacing our bedroom while Emma slept. "She's been doing so well. She's finally feeling secure. This will destroy her." "It's not that simple," Olivia said, though she looked equally devastated. "Rachel is her biological mother. She's been sober for 6 months. The courts favor reunification when possible. But what about what's best for Emma? That's what the court will decide." The lawyer explained that Rachel would get supervised visits. If they went well, they could progress to unsupervised visits. If things continued positively, Rachel could petition for partial custody, or even full custody. I felt sick what had to tell Emma, and finding the words was one of the hardest things I'd ever done. "Emma, sweetheart," Olivia said gently, pulling Emma onto her lap. "You know how you have a tummy, Mommy. The person who grew you in her belly." Emma nodded, clutching Peanut. Will, your tummy mummy has been working very hard to feel better, and she wants to see you. Emma's eyes went wide. I have to leave. No, I said quickly, kneeling beside them. No, baby, this is your home. We're your family. Nothing changes that. But your tummy mummy wants to visit you sometimes, and a judge says that's okay. I don't want to, Emma whispered. I know, sweetheart, but we'll be right there with you. We won't let anything bad happen. The first visit was at a family services building with a supervisor present. Rachel looked healthy, clear-eyed, nervous. When she saw Emma, she started crying. Hi, baby girl. I'm your mommy. Do you remember me? Emma pressed against Olivia's legs. No. Rachel's face crumpled, but she tried to smile. That's okay. We can get to know each other again. I brought you something. She held out a doll, cheap plastic, nothing like the handcrafted toys Emma had at home. But Emma took it politely. The hour was painful. Rachel tried too hard, overwhelming Emma with questions and affection. Emma responded with monosyllables, watching the clock. When the visit ended, Emma ran to me and buried her face in my neck. Did I do good? She whispered. You did so good, sweetheart. So good. In the car, Emma was quiet. At home, she went straight to her room. Olivia and I followed and found her crying into Peanut. Baby, what's wrong? Olivia asked, sitting on the bed beside her. Is she going to take me away? My heart shattered. No, Emma. No one is taking you anywhere. But she's my real mummy. She's your biological mother, I said carefully. But Olivia and I were your mummies too. The ones who tuck you in and make you pancakes and teach you to ride a bike. Family isn't just about who you came from. It's about who shows up every day and loves you no matter what. You'll always be here. Always, Olivia promised. Forever and ever. Even if she wants me back. I looked at Olivia, and we shared a moment of silent communication, a promise, a commitment. Even then, I said, we'll fight for you, Emma, because you're our daughter, and nothing will ever change that. Emma threw her arms around both of us, and we held her while she cried, and I prayed we could keep that promise. The visits continued, once a week at first, then twice. Rachel was doing everything right, staying sober, attending parenting classes, getting a steady job. The social workers' reports were positive. And Emma was falling apart. She started having nightmares again, wetting the bed, throwing tantrums before visits, clinging to us constantly, as if afraid we'd disappear. I don't want to go, she'd sob every visit day. Please don't make me go. I know, baby, but we have to. It's the rule. After 3 months of visits, Rachel petitioned for unsupervised time. The court approved weekend visits. Emma would spend 1 weekend a month with Rachel. That first Friday, packing Emma's bag, I couldn't stop my hands from shaking. Mama, Emma asked, watching me fold her pajamas, are you sad? A little bit, yeah. I'm going to miss you this weekend. I'll miss you too. She hugged my leg. But I'll come back, right? Yes, baby, you'll always come back. This is your home. But even as I said it, I was terrified. What if Rachel convinced Emma to stay? What if Emma decided she wanted her biological mother? What if we lost her? That weekend was the longest of our lives. Olivia and I wandered the house like ghosts. Emma's toys were everywhere, her drawings on the fridge, her tiny shoes by the door. The silence was deafening. I can't do this, Olivia said Sunday morning. I can't keep sharing her. I can't keep sending her away and hoping she comes back. Casey, I love her so much it hurts. I know, me too. What if the court decides she should go back to Rachel? What if we lose her? Then, we fight. We get lawyers. We present evidence. We do whatever it takes. You think we can win. I think we have to try. When Rachel brought Emma back Sunday evening, Emma exploded through the door and launched herself at us, crying hysterically. I want to stay here. I don't want to go back. Please, Mama, Mommy, please let me stay here forever. Rachel stood in the doorway, tears streaming down her face. She cried all weekend, asked for you constantly. I tried everything, but... She wiped her eyes. I see it now, the way she loves you, the way you've built a life with her. Rachel, Olivia started. No, let me finish. I'm her mother. I gave birth to her. But you're her moms. You're the ones who healed her, who made her feel safe. And her voice broke. I want what's best for her, not what's best for me. My heart was pounding. What are you saying? I'm saying I'm going to withdraw my petition. I'm going to tell the court I want you to adopt her. Full and final. She looked at Emma, curled in Olivia's arms. But I'm asking, Ken. I still see her sometimes, not as her mother trying to get her back, but as someone who loves her and wants to be in her life. Olivia and I looked at each other. It was complicated. It wasn't the clean resolution I'd hoped for, but life rarely is. We can try, Olivia said finally. Supervised visits, on Emma's terms. If she wants to see you, we'll arrange it. But no more overnights, no more custody battles. She needs stability. Rachel nodded, crying harder. Thank you. Thank you for loving her the way I couldn't. After she left, we sat on the couch with Emma between us, holding her while she calmed down. Emma, I said softly, how would you feel if you stayed here forever? If Mama lived and I adopted you officially, and you became Emma Murphy-Chen for real? Forever, forever, she asked, looking up with those big brown eyes. Forever, forever, Olivia confirmed. And Rachel, she can visit sometimes, if you want. But this is your home. We're your family. Nothing will change that. Emma thought for a long moment. Can Peanut come too? We laughed through our tears. Yes, baby, Peanut comes too. Then okay, forever. The adoption was finalized on a Tuesday in March, 3 years and 2 months after I'd first shown up to fix Olivia's lights. We all dressed up, Emma in a purple dress she'd picked out herself, Olivia in a soft blue suit, me in the only dress I owned. The courtroom was small, filled with our friends and family. My parents, who'd driven up from Virginia, Olivia's sister with her family, our neighbors from Maple Grove. Even Rachel was there, in the back, quietly crying. The judge was an older woman with kind eyes who'd clearly seen 1,000 of these cases. Emma, she said gently, do you understand what's happening today? Emma nodded solemnly. I'm getting forever mummies. The judge smiled. That's right. And do you want Casey and Olivia to be your forever mom? Yes, please. Well then, the judge signed the papers with a flourish. Emma Murphy-Chen, it is my honor to officially declare that Casey Murphy and Olivia Chen are now and forever your legal parents. Congratulations, family. The courtroom erupted in applause. Emma launched herself at us, and we held her, crying and laughing, while our friends cheered. Someone, I think my dad, started singing Celebration very off-key, and soon everyone joined in. Outside the courthouse, we took 1,000 photos. Emma with us, Emma with Peanut, Emma with her grandparents, all of us together. In every photo, Emma is beaming, and so are we, because this was real now. She was ours, we were hers, forever. That night, we had a party at the house. Someone had decorated with balloons and streamers. There was cake and music and too many people in our living room, but it was perfect. Emma ran around showing everyone her official papers, as she called them, explaining very seriously that she was Emma Murphy-Chen now, forever and ever. Later, after everyone had gone home and Emma was asleep, Olivia and I sat on the back porch, exhausted and happy. Can you believe it? Olivia asked. 5 years ago, I was alone in this house, convinced my life was over. And now you have a wife and a daughter and a published novel and a full heart. She corrected, we have all of that. I pulled her close. You know what I was thinking today, about that first day, when you called about the lights. I almost didn't take the job. It was late, I was tired. I'd had 3 service calls already. You're joking, I'm not. I almost told dispatch to give it to someone else, but something made me say yes, and thank God I did, because you and Emmy are everything. You're my whole world. Olivia kissed me softly. You came to fix my lights. And you fixed my life. I finished. We sat in comfortable silence, watching the lights glow warm in the windows, the same lights I'd fixed all those years ago, still burning bright, just like us. Emma started kindergarten that fall, and with it came a whole new set of challenges we hadn't anticipated. The first week, her teacher, Mrs. Patterson, called us in for a conference. Emma had been acting out, refusing to participate, hiding under her desk, crying when asked simple questions. I think she's struggling with the transition, Mrs. Patterson said kindly, and I noticed on her forms, she has 2 mothers. Some of the other children have been asking questions, and I'm not sure Emma knows how to answer them. My jaw tightened. Is that a problem? Not for me, Mrs. Patterson said quickly. But at this age, children notice differences. They ask direct questions. Where's your dad? Why do you have 2 moms? Emma needs tools to navigate those conversations. That night, we sat Emma down at the kitchen table. Mrs. Patterson says some kids are asking about our family, Olivia said gently. What do you tell them? Emma pushed her mac and cheese around her plate. I don't tell them anything. Why not, sweetheart? Because Mason said families have a mommy and a daddy, and when I said I have 2 mommies, he said that's weird. Her voice got smaller. Am I weird? My heart broke. No, baby, you're not weird. You're special. But I want to be normal. Olivia took Emma's hand. Normal is boring. And families come in all different shapes. Some have a mummy and daddy. Some have two mummies or two daddies. Some have grandparents or aunties raising them. Some have just one parent. What matters isn't what a family looks like. It's that the people in it love each other. But why do I have two mommies? Because, I said carefully, Mama Liv and I fell in love, just like any two people do. And then we met you, and we fell in love with you too. And now we're a family. Did you always know you liked girls? Emma asked Olivia. Olivia smiled. I knew I was different when I was young, but I didn't understand it until I was older. I dated a man once, actually, before I realized I was much happier loving women. And you, Mommy, I always knew, I said. Even when I was little, I had crushes on girls instead of boys. It took me a long time to be brave enough to tell people, but when I did, my family loved me just the same. Emma thought about this. If I tell Mason about our family, will he still be my friend? Maybe, maybe not. Some people won't understand, and that's okay. But the right people, the people worth having in your life, they'll love our family just like we do. The next day, Emma went to school with a book we'd found called The Family Book that showed all different types of families. She asked to bring it for show, and tell. Mrs. Patterson called that afternoon. I just wanted to let you know, Mush shared her book today. She told the whole class about her family, about how she has two mommies and a stuffed elephant named Peanut. And Casey, she was so proud, so brave. I was crying before Mrs. Patterson even finished. Thank you for supporting her. Of course, she's a special little girl. You're raising her right. But the challenges didn't end there. Over the years, we faced more the mom, at the playground, who pulled her child away from Emma when she found out about our family. The school form that only had boxers for mother and father. The birthday party Emma wasn't invited to because the host's parents didn't agree with our lifestyle. Each incident hurt, but each time, we talked to Emma about it. We taught her that some people's fear and ignorance said nothing about her worth. We connected her with other kids who had LGBTQ+ parents. We found her a therapist who specialized in adopted children and alternative families. And slowly, Emma learned to hold her head high, to correct people politely when they assumed we were her aunts or babysitters, to educate her peers when they asked questions, to be proud of our family, even when the world made it hard. By third grade, Emma was a fierce advocate. When a new girl joined her class and mentioned she had two dads, Emma immediately befriended her. When their teacher assigned a project about traditional families, Emma raised her hand and asked, "What about untraditional families? Are they less important?" The teacher stammered. The principal got involved. By the end of the week, the project had been redesigned to celebrate all types of families. "I'm so proud of you," I told Emma that night. "You always say families come in all shapes," Emma said simply. I was just making sure everyone knew that. 5 years after Emma's adoption, 8 years after I'd first fixed Olivia's lights, I decided it was time. Olivia and I had been domestic partners for years. We'd combined finances, bought the house together, raised Emma together, but we'd never officially married, partly because we'd been so focused on Emma's adoption, partly because Olivia had marriage baggage from her near wedding to Jennifer, partly because it had never seemed urgent. But I wanted to marry her. I wanted to stand up in front of everyone we loved and promise forever. I wanted the rings, and the ceremony, and the legal recognition. I wanted it all. I enlisted Emma's help. "I want to ask Mama Liv to marry me," I told her one Saturday when Olivia was at a book event, "and I was hoping you could help me plan the proposal." Emma's eyes went wide. "Really? Can I help pick the ring?" I was counting on it. We spent weeks planning. Emma drew pictures of what the proposal should look like. We went to jewelry stores together, Emma seriously considering each ring option. We decided on a simple gold band with 3 small diamonds, one for each of us. "It's perfect," Emma declared. "She's going to cry so much." The proposal happened on a December evening, 10 years to the day after our first kiss in the pile of autumn leaves. I'd told Olivia we were having a family dinner at home. What she didn't know was that our closest friends and family were hiding in the house: my parents, her sister, Emma's friends, neighbors, even Rachel, who'd become a steady, supportive presence in Emma's life over the years. We'd decorated the house with fairy lights and candles. In the living room, I'd set up a display of photos from our years together. That first day I'd come to fix her lights. Our first kiss, moving in together, Emma's adoption day, vacations and holidays, and ordinary Tuesday evenings, our whole life, spread out in pictures. Casey, what is all this? Olivia asked, her eyes already filling with tears. Come look, I said, taking her hand. We walked through the photos together, Emma holding Olivia's other hand. At the end of the display was a blank frame with a note. The next chapter. I knelt down, Emma beside me, both of us holding the ring box. Olivia, I started, my voice shaking. 10 years ago, you called me to fix your lights, but you did so much more than that. You taught me what love really means. You showed me that broken things aren't unfixable. They're just waiting for someone who sees them differently. You gave me Emma, and you gave me a life more beautiful than anything I could have imagined. Emma piped up, as we'd practiced, and you make really good pancakes. Everyone laughed, and Olivia was crying now, her hand over her mouth. So, I continued, opening the ring box. Olivia Chen, will you marry me? Will you let me spend the rest of my life fixing things with you, building things with you, loving you and Emma and whatever comes next? Yes, Olivia sobbed. Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. I slipped the ring on her finger, and Emma threw her arms around both of us, and then suddenly the house was full of people cheering and crying, and Olivia looked around in shock. Did you know about this? She asked Emma. I helped plan it. Emma said proudly, I picked the ring, and everything. It's perfect, Olivia said, looking at the ring, then at me, then at our daughter. You're both perfect. My mom started crying. Olivia's sister popped champagne. Someone put on music, and Emma dragged us both to dance. And in that moment, surrounded by everyone we loved, I thought about how far we'd come, from a lonely woman in a dark house to this lights and laughter and love overflowing. We got married on a Saturday in June, in our backyard on Maple Grove. The wedding planning had been an adventure. Emma insisted on being the flower girl and ring bearer. I can do both, Mummy, I promise. Olivia wanted something simple and intimate. I wanted to make sure everyone who'd been part of our journey was there. We compromised 50 guests, backyard ceremony, handmade details, and a food truck instead of catered dinner because Emma loved the taco truck downtown. The morning of the wedding, I woke up in a hotel room with my parents and Emma. We'd decided to do the traditional, not seeing each other before the ceremony thing, even though we'd been living together for 8 years. Nervous? My dad asked, helping me into my suit, a tailored navy blue that Olivia had never seen. Not even a little bit, I said, and meant it. I've never been more sure of anything. Emma twirled in her purple dress. I'm nervous. What if I drop the rings? Then we picked them up, I said, kneeling to fix her flower crown. But you're going to be amazing. At the house, our friends had transformed the backyard into something magical. White chairs faced Ann Arbor covered in climbing roses. Fairy lights were strung through the trees, ready for evening. A string quartet was setting up. It looked like something from a fairy tale. I stood under the arbor with the officiant, our friend Marcus, who'd gotten ordained online just for this, and waited. My mom was crying already. Emma stood beside me, clutching her basket of flower petals, vibrating with excitement. The music started. Emma walked down the aisle, throwing petals with dramatic flair, and everyone laughed. Then the quartet began playing La Vie en Rose, and Olivia appeared. She wore a simple white dress that flowed like water, her hair loose and crowned with flowers. Her sister walked beside her, both of them crying happy tears, but Olivia's eyes were on me. And in that moment, the rest of the world fell away. When she reached the arbor, she took my hands, and we were both crying.